Lakeview area. He's turned me up. Hope I didn't hurt anybody with that. Okay. I guess first announcements, maybe sounding like a broken record here, but we still are struggling with grease trap approvals and annual fees, and we really would appreciate it if people would, if the establishments who have grease traps would please get up to speed on the annual permit fees, and also those who have. I thank you very much, and we're still waiting for the reports on the grease trap inspections. So again, please do that. We don't have many other ways other than begging, which I'm doing, or fines, which we would like to avoid for everybody's sake. Okay. Public comment. Any public comment? Sir? Yeah. If you could come up and state your name for all the multitudes out in the world there.
My name is Stephen Keating, and I live on Cross Road. Apparently, I'm the person who's categorized as the another one, which I don't particularly like. But I'm coming before the board. I'm asking you to kindly consider adding that next address to the sewer extension. I know that from the information I learned tonight, the sewer service area was arbitrarily closed at a certain point, and it appears as if there's no reason as to why that occurred. And so I would think that if that's the case, then perhaps arbitrarily there'd be no reason why you couldn't just extend it one more lot. The people across from me have a new septic system. The people south of me have a new septic system. So I don't think I'd be the another one. I think I'd be the last one. And had we known that the line was probably going to be extended over the crest of the hill on Cross Road, because way back it was going to just come up to the top of the hill. Mm-hmm. And had at that time, had I known at that time that there's a possibility of it going over the hill, which it has done, I most certainly would have, approached the town way back months and months and months ago. But my wife and I are very interested in becoming, having sewers extended for a variety of reasons. But and I understand all the difficulties involved and so forth. But I've lived here many, many years, and I'm just going to politely ask the Sewer Commission if you would kindly at least take into consideration my request that 236 be included. I'd give you any easement or whatever you want. Okay, so thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And Mrs. LaFay has been very, very helpful on the one time I spoke on the phone. So again, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming out and for sitting through the workshop.
I found it quite informative.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
The only comment I would make is that I hope we didn't. I may have actually used the word arbitrary, but that I can assure you it wasn't arbitrary. We just sitting around the table tonight couldn't remember X number of years ago the exact reason we drew the line there, but there were no arbitrary decisions that I'm aware of, and I was involved in drawing those lines, so I was at all those meetings. So there were reasons. We just tonight couldn't pull them up, but as you heard, I hope, we with Wright Pierce, who's doing the extensions, and also did the CWMP, who did all the justifications and definition of need areas. That was what defined where the zones were, and where we stopped is where we felt there was no longer a need, that it could be supported by septic systems. So for right, wrong, or indifferent, it seems that conclusion was that was not an area of need. But again, thank you for coming. We will look into it and look at that. It is just one more stop down the road there. But this plan has been on the public domain for a number of years now, since we approved the sewer service areas. And if anyone, I mostly say that not not to pick on Mr. Keating, because I'm glad he came forward, but for anyone who else is out there who is thinking about this, you should, the sewer service areas are online. You can go to the Lunenburg website, and you can see exactly where sewer service areas are and what lots they stop at. Because these processes, to change that is quite an extensive process. Has to go to town meeting, and there's a lot of work to be done. So if for some reason you think there was some arbitrariness, or there's an area of need, you're in a need area, and for some reason didn't get counted, I would suggest that you look at the sewer service map and come forward to the commission, and we could start that process of how was the line drawn, and should it be drawn in another way? Because again, it'll take, it at least takes a town meeting, assuming that everything, that we all collectively decide to change it. So this is not a quick process. It certainly would not be consistent with this extension. And it's not in the applications that we're going for, but it doesn't mean that we still can't do it and still have an extension, an additional extension. So if you're not in this project and you're interested, anyone out there, to get the process going, because we're here to provide service for people who have needs. And I'm sure we didn't get it 100% right.
You know, and I didn't mean to imply arbitrary in a negative way. That wasn't my intent. Absolutely a better word.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. That's an excellent lead into the first agenda item, which is to get an update on the sewer extensions in the Whalum and Pratt Street area. And Kevin Olson from Wright Pierce is here. He's the manager of the project, and give us an update.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks to the commission for having us here tonight. And with me tonight is Matt Corbin. He's the project engineer as well. So I think we had a good workshop, as Carl noted, prior to this meeting. So give a quick update for the commission and those of you out in the viewing audience tonight as to where we are with the project. Good news is we're making a lot of hay, as they might say, on the project. We're in the design phase right now. Quick chronology of how we've gotten to where we are tonight, and the next step, so a quick look-see. We got started pretty much as planned in July. We were able to get the wetlands delineated in July. We were able to get the field survey moving right away. That wrapped up in August. We did our initial design and layouts in August and early September, and then we looked towards our last design subcontractor bit of work, which was soil borings, which we completed just a couple of weeks ago. So we had 3 days of a drilling rig out there. Some folks in the audience maybe saw the drilling rigs out there in both the Lakeview Ave and Pratt Street area. So in a nutshell, basically looking for water table, looking for any refusal, rock and boulder, that sort of thing, and if there's any potential for unsuitable material. So that's really the primary purpose of doing the soil boring work. So we have all of that information in. So again, the three subcontractors that we've worked with, wetlands delineation, field survey, and the soil borings, all as part of the design effort for the sewer extension, those are all complete. What have we been doing in the last month or two? Along with that, we've been working on the design. We're going to be submitting a progress set of plans and specs to the commission near term, as we talked earlier. So we're working on that right now. Ultimately, the design will compile a set of contract documents. You'll have the plans and the specifications, which will ultimately be bid for construction. So that pretty much brings us up to where we are right now. Looking ahead, we have between now and the end of the year of 2014 to complete the design. The plan is to bid the project in January, or advertise the project for bid in January. Open bids in February. If things go well and the bids come in well, hopefully you'd have a contractor on board in April or May. The intent would be to start construction then. We're still thinking about 7 months for construction, so brings us up pretty much to about, I'll say, Thanksgiving of next year, so Thanksgiving of 2015, where the pipe would hopefully be in the ground for both areas. We'd let the trenches settle, as it were, over the winter, have final paving be the spring of 2016, and any final loam and seed or landscaping, restoration punch list work. So we did lay out a schedule as part of our proposal back earlier in the summer, and we're still pretty much on schedule, so that's good news. It's been a condensed schedule, and we still have plenty of work to do, but we're on target there. In terms of some of the near-term milestones, and we talked a little bit about this with you guys earlier at the workshop, the next one is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So tomorrow, I can't believe it's already October 1st, but this project is funded through SRF Loan, the state revolving fund. It's a low-interest loan program, which is equivalent of about a 2% interest rate. As part of getting that funding, there needs to be an application that's made. We've all, not all of us, but you may have financed your house or what have you, taken a note. We need to submit that application. That needs to be in 2 weeks from tomorrow, October 15th. So we're working right now on that. Barb has been great working with us on that, working on getting all the paperwork together, and the signatures. We also have to attach those contract documents, those plans and specifications to that. So that all goes into DEP on the 15th. They'll go ahead and take a review, look at that. They'll review it. They'll provide us with feedback. If they have any questions, they'll let us know. If they have any corrections, if they have any, hey, what about this? We'll get some feedback from them sometime this fall, and then we'll work closely with them and coordinating with you to get that complete. That ultimately builds up to having to be complete at the end of this year. So December 31st, DEP will have to issue what they call a project approval certificate. They call it a PAC. By the end of the year. So the submittal here on the 15th really starts that end game process between now and the end of the year. So again, tying that back into the schedule, we get the PAC sometime at the end of the year. Once you get that PAC, then we should be in position to advertise for bid in January, and that schedule, as I had already laid out. Won't bore you guys with all the details in the SRF loan application work that we're doing right now, but as Barb knows, her and Matt are working quite a bit lately, and I'm sure they'll be talking quite a bit over the next couple of weeks. That's a real quick snapshot of where we are, where we've been and where we are right now, and then that look ahead. I guess I would just pause myself now and say, if you have questions, we can answer those. Matt can certainly help fill in any blanks or anything that I forgot to lay out for you guys.
I think you answered everything at the workshop. Pretty good.
Did you mention anything on easements too? Mention anything on easements?
Yeah, I was
Local
gonna say,
potential.
I guess there's two things maybe you could comment on. One is we've done some work now. Everybody's always concerned about cost, and that's right. Based on what's been done with borings and everything else, any surprises or anything along that line that would affect the cost plus or minus, and then the easement situation.
Sure. And we just talked about that in our workshop. As part of the soil boring work that we just did a couple weeks ago, we did find, again, we're looking for groundwater, perhaps some unsuitable material. So if you dig to put the pipe in, can you put that material back in the trench, or do you want to have it be taken out as spoils? And probably most importantly, are we hitting any rock or refusal? We did hit some. We hit some primarily in the Pratt-Rennie Street area, not as much in the Lakeview Ave area. Doesn't mean we're panicked, doesn't mean it's a showstopper, but it's an interesting data point. On Rennie Street, we hit it about 3 feet deep.
Correct.
And on Pratt Street, if you work from Whalum Road up towards West Street, and again, you get to Rennie and you work your way up to West, more down in the Whalum area, there was some shallow refusal there as well. It wasn't quite as shallow, it was more in the 5 to 8 feet deep. So what that means is the sewer pipe itself, as a low pressure sewer, is going to be not buried very deep anyway. Let's say 5 to 7 feet deep or so. We may have to shallow that up a little bit, or the contractor may need to remove some of that rock. So we're working right now on how best to do that and how to detail that out so we get the appropriate bids and the contractor knows what they have there in terms of some ledge removal. Won't get into a lot of the details about how they can remove it. It could be hoe rammed and ripped, with the excavator. It could be blasted out, which is a little bit of a different ball game. So we're working on some of those, tying that, Carl, into cost. We are doing an updated cost estimate as well, which we have to do as part of the SRF loan application. So we're working on that right now, and we'll be getting that to the commission for a review near term as well. We did not anticipate significant ledge when we did our initial budgeting. That being said, again, not time to panic, we did put in a reasonable amount of contingency or contingencies in our cost estimate for things just like that. You know, sometimes you don't know until you get out there and put the shovel in the ground, or in this case, you know, start drilling. So that was some information that was helpful, and frankly, that's why we do the drilling, to try and provide as much information for the bidders and minimize those surprises. So is any more on that, do you think, you guys?
Maybe maybe you mentioned it, but we always get so involved, we forget as things migrate. There is one, I'd call it significant, because it's a change in direction from what we presented at the town meeting, and that's the switch from the sewer from gravity to low pressure on Pratt, so that now everybody is in the same boat.
Yep.
Maybe you could comment on that.
Yep, it's a really good point, Carl. When we did do, right, Pierce did do the comprehensive wastewater management plan, and that was completed in 2010. It's a planning level document, so we do a lot of planning level work. And what I'm really trying to say is, you know, when you then move forward with an area of need, and these areas are areas of need, hence that's why you're moving forward with installing the sewers. Until you get into the survey phase and get the boots on the ground, you don't know for sure how you can service an area. Getting a little bit more specific, can you do it with a gravity pipe, or do you need to do it with a pressure pipe, in this case a low pressure sewer? So on Pratt Street in particular, which is planned to connect into that existing manhole on Whalum Road, the question was, is that manhole deep enough or not? Weren't quite sure. We had some suspicions that it may not quite be deep enough, but we weren't going to know until we did the survey. So we did do that survey. We met with some group of the Sewer Commission a few weeks back and talked through and showed to you guys that it just wasn't going to work. So we weren't sure during planning level. We confirmed that we can't. So what that means is Pratt Street will not be a gravity service. It will be a smaller diameter pressure main. And what that means is the homes on Pratt Street will actually have individual grinder pumps to connect. They won't be a gravity service. So I don't know if that was a kind of a quick summary of.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. So everyone in both extensions now is, am I the same boat, has that same situation where they will all need low pressure service.
Exactly.
So
And just to complete the story, Rennie Street, which comes into Pratt, was always planned to be low pressure. So now Pratt Street and Rennie Street will all be low pressure. In Area 9, the sewer service Area 9, where the Lakeview Ave, that's always been planned as low pressure. So as you just said, Carl, it's all low pressure. That's a good point, just to make sure that everybody understands that update.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
And in terms of easements, yeah, so the Pratt-Rennie Street area, there are no easement needs that we see. It's all going to be installed, the sewer main within the public right away. Down in the Lakeview Ave area, no easement needs on Cross, Pine Grove, and then when you get closer to the lake, when you get at the end of Lakeview, and then to Sunset and Harris, we had identified, even back before town meeting in the spring, that there may be some private roads in that area. Hence, there may be the need to do some utility or sewer easements down there. We've done some initial investigations, and it does show that there are Sunset and Harris are private, and the end of Lakeview is. So we're working right now with the Sewer Commission in the town, and through Barb and Copeland and Page Town Council. So in the end, there'll be some easement plans and descriptions that will be finalized, and that will have to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. So that's not going to be completed for the October 15th submittal, because we need to finalize the exact pipe locations, but that will be completed, later this fall. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's a good update on that as well.
No, that's excellent. I think it wants to highlight to anyone involved in the Whalum area. This is an area that we can go smoothly, and everybody can help and be responsive, or it can hold up the project. So we're hoping everybody is very cooperative, and we can make those easements happen quickly and painlessly, so we can keep the project on track.
And to do some of the soil boring work down in that area, I thought the process went fairly well, where we actually had to get some agreements with some of those private property owners. So I'm hoping that could continue forward into the permanent situation. So.
Yeah, everyone has been very cooperative so far. I don't misinterpret what I said. Everyone has been extremely cooperative, and we've been doing very well. So hopefully it keeps up.
The only other thing I might offer is we are working with the Board of Health to learn more specifically for individual parcels where their existing septic systems are. That will help best guide us on where to put the new sewer service, the best location, please stay out of my driveway, put it over there. So we're working on those types of things, and there may be the need, near term and or longer term, to have a mailer go out to some of the individuals. So it may be a good opportunity just to kind of break that ice, Carl. I figured I'd just mention that. So there'll be some continued, I think, communication and coordination with the property owners.
Good, thanks for pointing that out. That's great. Any questions or comments from the commission?
What was the
Butch?
survey this gentleman that wanted to add on?
The actual physical sewer survey that we did, the field survey, we actually do not have survey all the way down to that particular parcel. Our survey stops at
14, so probably maybe a couple hundred feet from where the gentleman's house physically set.
Right, yeah, so we had talked at our workshop before that it was another couple, maybe 300 feet further down on Cross Street. Yeah, and we at this point do not have the field survey.
Right.
We actually haven't done any of the subcontractor work. We haven't looked for wetlands, we haven't done the field survey, and we haven't drilled a soil boring down there. So just to have that as information, and I realize, what was put up for your consideration, so,
Right.
and we had indicated to you that if that was to happen, you would need to have, some more information provided to be able to do any additional design. And we're ready, willing, and able to do that, depending on how that plays forward or not. So,
Any other questions or comments from the commission? No? No. Then I will thank you very much, Kevin, as always. Very good, and Matt, appreciate it.
I have 2 invoices that, while they're here, I don't know if you're going to leave.
I don't know that you need us for the rest of the agenda.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Nope, nope.
But
Unless you
there are
want-
2 invoices from Wright Pierce that I just might as well look at.
Yeah,
We're going to
just-
have them on the agenda anyway, so. The first one
Let's
is
just
for
take care of them
the,
now in case there's any questions.
right. First one was for the period through July 25th. The other one is for the period August 29th.
So this is the one through July 25th,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's for $2,526.95, including initial project coordination, coordination with wetlands, field surveys, which we just heard about, review of the survey plans and initial drawing development, and then coordination with the sewer commission. Again, $2,526.95. Any questions on that?
That's per the agreement, is that correct?
Or the agreement? Is this the one I sent?
Just initial. There's multiple
There's my little
pages.
thing.
Ah. This one, had been received prior. This one was just received last week.
Oh.
So this is for the next stage, for 17 something.
Okay. So this will be from July 26th through August 29th. It's for field survey, geotech work, coordination, drawing development, specification development, SRF loan application preparation, which is that thick, in coordination with the sewer commission. And this one is for $17,984.59.
If I could,
Yes.
just let you know that that does include the full survey subcontractor amount, which I think was $11,000, Matt.
Oh,
So if you're, obviously, the first one was, we were just getting started, but you could see we got pretty headlong into it. The next invoice, I would suspect you'll see the drilling subcontract amount as well,
good.
so.
Thanks for pointing that out, Kevin. Very good. Thank you very much.
Chair, one.
You'll be seeing more of us.
Yeah, I'm
One
sure.
second.
Yeah, Kevin, if you could do us a favor, can you look at the CWMP and look at parcel number 20, which would be 236?
Yes,
Let's just see why it stopped there,
yes.
just for information, so we can get back to this gentleman and see what we can do.
We will, and I wanted to wait till I came up here, but what I wanted to just really quickly expound upon what Carl said. Yeah, it definitely was not an arbitrary decision. I know what you said, but it's been a little bit of time, so I want to step back and take a look at it. I suspect, and we had an interesting system of, a number of criteria to try and determine what areas were needs areas versus what areas could sustain on-site septic systems. And we actually, you might remember, Carl, too, some of the shading, the green and red shading. So I'm going to go back to some of the Phase 1 CWMP and take a look right in that area.
Yep.
That'll be that first visual, picture's worth 1,000 words, a quick first indicator to see what that'll tell us. And then from there, I think we can look a little deeper. So I should be able to get back to you near term.
I think everyone deserves an answer. It
I
can be
agree.
a yes or a no, but at least a reason why. We
Yep.
just can't tell a resident, so I think it's fair to him and fair to us. Let's see if we can service him. But I know you did the CWMP, and
Yep.
out of everyone in the world, you would know this, so
We'll take a look and we will get back to you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Also,
And Kevin,
to acknowledge
thank you very
I
much
have
for
one
everything.
question.
Yes, sure.
Is the parcel 30, is that the town property, town of Lunenburg? Do you know? Or do you happen to know? I just want to ask a question. You may not have an answer to it now, but maybe just as a...
Is that in the Lakeview area?
Yeah, adjacent to the lake.
No.
40,
Behind 20 and 21, behind these,
This one?
I thought it was down here, 43
no,
or something.
30,
This one?
yeah.
oh, I don't know, actually, I don't.
Is that off?
I just wanted to ask the question, if it is town property, what would be, or you may not have an answer now, but maybe in the future, what would be the feasibility of running from there to the back sides of those property? Because there was another concern expressed earlier about running down Cross Street. So maybe if you could just take a look at that and see if it's even feasible.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would like to, before we part ways, understand exactly where that location is. I don't know if maybe
Yeah,
if you
it's-
could show me on the plan, or I could take a
just-
step up.
Yeah, it's just past, along the lake edge.
I'm gonna, if you wanna wait a second, I can hopefully tell you quickly who it is.
Parcel number 30 right there. Okay.
Yeah. Sunset Lane, 32
It's a big parcel.
It is, but I think it's private. It's somebody's land.
It's not town?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know if they get in over here.
I don't know either.
Hold on, I'm hoping to find out.
Kind of blocked.
No, it is a private. It's
private,
somebody,
okay.
yep. I just would like to mention that Debbie Sundstrom from 214 did also submit. So 236 is one further on, so we're considering it. We did discuss it in the, right. I just want to acknowledge that she did submit a request to be considered, so
But
we're
is she
looking at that also.
214?
Yes.
Yeah,
I just want to
214.
mention, because she came to the,
And
Yeah, and we're-
she's lot 21?
yes.
Yes.
She's in the
yeah,
sewer
yeah.
district.
And that's in the sewer district,
Good
and
neighbors.
it's currently on the plan,
Right.
so.
If I could, Troy, was the question for lot number 30?
well, I think Barb said that it's not town, so I think that resolves.
Okay,
40 is the town, it's much littler.
Okay.
okay.
Great. Thank you again.
But
Have a good
don't-
night.
Don't leave yet. I mean, you can leave. I think, did you want to say something? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
if you like to
yes,
come up.
please.
Why Kevin's still here?
I know I'm at late notice here. Debbie Sundstrom at 214, so I don't know if I'm a go or not. I just wanted to say, when you guys put the sewer in up at Whalum, I was so happy, and I was hoping that you would come my way. And it's my responsibility for not being informed and not coming to any meetings or finding out what's going on, because it was July 5th. Remember, we were going to have a big storm on July 4th. So somebody down on Sunset said at that time that they were going to have sewer, and she mentioned the $20,000 abatement or whatever it would cost. And she said, "Had you heard?" And I said, "No." I did get, I don't remember getting this letter that was mailed May 2013 that you gave me, Barb. I don't know if,
No, it didn't, it was it was not in the consideration, so it
Okay.
didn't go to you.
but I did get the little paper that you sent out with the surveyors and the wetland people. And so the surveyors were out, and they were on my yard and walking all around in front. The dog was barking and everything, but so that was that day. And then the people that were doing the drilling for the soil samples, they came by, and I went out and spoke to the person that was in charge, and he said he didn't know if the sewer was coming to my house. So that's when I started this ball rolling, because I really would like to have sewer. I have a very old septic system, and it would definitely help me out for later on and even now. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming out and
thank you.
bringing this to our attention.
And she is on the plan already.
Yes, yeah. So we could easily change the original plan was not to go down there.
Yeah.
However, all the work has been done, and it will be as part of the SRF funding, so the door would be open unless there's some other reason that we wouldn't go down there, but we need to have that discussion.
Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kevin.
All right, well. Okay,
Thanks, guys. Good job.
that's it. Okay, 7:30, wow, 7:32. So the next agenda item is relative to another extension, but in this case, a private extension on 42 Highland Street. And we've had several meetings on this, and Mr. Proctor is here representing the owner. There is one piece of business that we should take care of, I think, first, and that is we had taken a vote on the bond, and there was a lot of discussion on the bond. We had taken a vote that the bond would only cover the work in the town, within the town's area, and not the complete project. It was not a unanimous vote, so turns out one of us got it consistent with legal. We've now had legal consult on this, and they recommend that the bond be for the total project value. They've also stated that it does not extend the town's liability to have to be named on such a bond, which was one of our concerns and why we didn't want to go any further than we absolutely had to. But they've said that wasn't the case, and it's simpler just to keep with the total value.
If I can, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
In this project that I was assigned the privately funded extension policy, I did some of the research on that, and I think the concern that came as a result of that is if we were to split the bond and actually take on a project separate from, I think that was a different question to council. It could turn into a public works project, and so that's how it would be different, and
Okay.
that's where that research led to. So that's why that question came up.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification, Troy. Okay, so I would appreciate a motion that would change our prior vote from funding of only effort in the town's area to funding for the total project.
Before we make that motion, I just have a question. Would that be a bond for the town, or would we be a separate insurer? Or a
The way
separate?
council wrote it, it's a bond between the contractor and the homeowner,
Right.
and naming the town as an obligee.
Okay. So it's almost like a certificate of
Obligee,
insurance
I'm not
with,
sure.
with an additional insurer on it.
Right.
That's fine. Okay.
Good question, Dave.
Make the motion. Do you have a motion, babe?
Indicated.
I'll make the motion that we approve this private sewer extension with bond for the full amount of the project, with naming the town as obligee, and I think that's okay.
I maybe went a little further than I was looking for,
I see.
because I think you said approve the project.
Are we not approving? I
I just want to change the motion on the bond, of what the
Okay.
bond was for.
I'll amend it to approve the bond for the full amount of the project.
Thank you. Second?
All right. Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Great, thank you. Okay, there were, Mr. Proctor, thank you for joining us. If you could introduce yourself. There are a number of things that we needed to tidy up tonight, so we could take that vote that we almost just had a motion on.
Yep. Dan Proctor, 1529 Mass Ave. I'm representing the homeowner at 42 Highland Street, Lunenburg, for a privately funded sewer project. Just a couple of questions. Bob had sent me the punch list of things I needed to complete, my end of it. Obviously, the bond was one thing. I understand where we're going on that. I guess a couple of questions I have is, first of all, what kind of time frame are we looking for that performance bond? In other words, we're going to do some type of substantial completion, then bond money will be returned. I'm assuming that's how we're going to do it. So I'm looking for answers on that, as far as right out of the gate.
Fair enough, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
believe at the last meeting, didn't we discuss that there would be a schedule provided by Mr. Proctor? You would provide us a schedule and we could adhere, go with that.
Okay,
Right.
so if I say we're gonna be done in 3 weeks, and we're done the project in 3 weeks, we've passed all the inspections, tests on the system, everything's up and running, then my bond money will be returned to me?
If it's consistent with the schedule and,
Jack has
Mr. Rodakowitz is here.
As far as
Because the other thing, the list, but we also wanted to make sure that Jack had input and was agreement of the values and
Okay,
Given
because
different
my
points.
biggest thing with the bond, when we had the meeting 2 weeks ago, certain members of this board said the bonds are pretty inexpensive. Well, they're $30 a thousand, so it's gonna cost me $1,080 to bond this project if I do it through an insurance company. So in my mind, that's a little bit more than not a lot of money. So I'm looking at other ways of putting up a performance bond. So in other words, if I put up $36,000 in cash, and I know the project's gonna take 3 weeks, and I'm gonna satisfy the inspection process, I get my 36 grand back, that would be a more economical way for me to do it than to purchase a bond through an insurance company and cost me $1,000.
I think Jack's has to answer the question.
yeah, I'm not sure how
As far as the
how that
timeframe.
works. Jack, do you
Because again,
familiar with
I
that?
understand that town council says I have to fund all of it, but day one, I put the $6,000 pump in the ground, my electrician wires it, I pump out the old system, I've already done $8,000 of the job.
Right.
That is entirely on private property.
Right. Yeah, I guess I thought the schedule was going to be how the bond would sort of get written down in my terms. So
Okay.
if on day one you put that $8,000 or $10,000 in, then
Okay.
then the bond would go down by.
Okay, and that's why I'm
That was my
asking.
thought, way I pictured it, but I'm not an expert in this area.
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking
Yeah.
if that's the route we want to go, because then, again, I'll do it that route rather than, buying an insurance policy from a performance bond from an insurance company. It would be a more economical way for me to do it.
Can you comment
Can
on
I
that?
ask Jack what they typically, what the town typically does with that? Or
Jack, could you comment on the
have
proposal?
Mechanism to take cash?
That's yeah.
I'm not an expert in this area either, but I can tell you what has been done in the past in this town, and you're all correct. We would look for that schedule, the original bond amount prior to construction, and then based upon a schedule of completion that you agree upon, the bond would be reduced to the point where it becomes substantial completion. And then I think all but 5%, but don't quote me on that to be exact, remains as retainage, and then there's a certain amount that remains for the 12-month warranty period, but it's minimal based on the values. Now, again, I'm not sure on those percentages, but that's the way it was done in the past here with the larger projects. The bond is worked down, if you will, so he doesn't have to carry, the contractor doesn't have to carry the entire amount of the project for the length of the project.
So, Jack, before you sit down, would Dan provide a schedule of values? And that's, yeah, so if you give the schedule of values, it just gets worked backwards with a 5% retainage.
Well, it seems like, I wasn't at the meeting, but it seems like Troy suggested that was already decided.
Yeah.
Yeah, the contractor can provide you a schedule.
Schedule of
And you
values.
can parallel that with the amount that you choose to have bonded.
I think one of the questions was that you just review it and make sure you're satisfied with what it would take for the town to fix the street if necessary. I think that's what was brought up.
Well, that's the retainage at the end. As the bond, I guess we're working with 30-something, let's just use round numbers, $36,000. If he has a schedule in the first 7 days, or first 5 days, or whatever you all agree to, and now he's putting in X amount of dollars towards it, well, he only has to bond the rest, the balance.
Right.
And until, again, the substantial completion, at which time, what we've done in the town is the sewer was actually in use, so that reduces the bond significantly to a small percentage. I said 5, I'm not exactly sure. And then we allow for retainage. We can access some sort of warranty amount for a 12-month period for road repairs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So we all are, I think, are on the same page relative to that and the values and how it
Yeah, we
ramps
don't
down.
want to carry the full amount for
Right, all right.
a 3-week job for a year.
What just got put on the table, though, that I'm not familiar with at all, is instead of having a bond, having basically cash. How does that work?
Do we know if the town has a mechanism to take
You know
that
what,
and
again,
put it
I
somewhere?
don't. That may be a quick,
There's a tri-party agreement.
I'm not sure, I'm not a,
Those are the tri-party agreements. And I did ask somewhere along the line of this whether we were told we couldn't do that with peer reviews, but it wasn't necessarily the case with this type of situation.
Right,
That we were
tri-party
paying-
account is the same as what you do when you do a road, improvement project.
Right.
Development, that type of thing.
So is that basically what you're proposing then?
Well, I'm just thinking that's my more economical way to go.
Yeah.
Just
No, it
because of
sounds
the
it.
shortness of this project. I mean, it's, a 3-week job, so rather than spending that kind of money for an insurance company to bond me for a year, when really,
Right.
the 5% is fine to hold that for 12 months, but.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I don't want to spend longer trying to figure this out than it's
no,
going
we
to take
don't
you to
want
do
to
the job.
No.
And I know where to find him.
Okay.
And I can check with council too.
Okay.
How-
So that would be the way we would assume we'll proceed. and
Okay,
that'll
so
work.
we'll just confirm that if it's going to be a tri-party account or how that's going to be held.
Okay.
Okay. And then my other question was the size of the main that Henry Albro from FR Mahoney had, figured for this job, which was the 1.5 SDR 11 line, okay, which would basically handle those 3 properties at a minimum, okay? Henry, unfortunately, has been at trade shows. He's down in New Orleans right now. I've been just back and forth with emails and stuff. He's going to look at all his notes when he gets home, which is going to be next week, so he can just give me that answer, because Bob had said that was the other concern that the board had, is how much farther could that 1.5 line go if the next house, literally, would we get a footage that line would handle? So, again, I don't have that answer tonight. I will have that before the next meeting. I ordered the pump. It's being shipped October 8th, so I'm not going to see it till probably the 10th anyhow, so I'm assuming that right after that, I'll have all that information from Henry. But I just wanted to be clear that we talked about the 1.5 line, we talked about a 3-inch line. Now, the 3-inch line was what Henry was saying would be able to probably handle all of Highland Street, okay? However, a 3-inch line wouldn't be in the best interest for 42 Highland Street alone, because now that pump's going to be running sluggish. So, this gentleman's paying for that line. That's why the 1.5 was designed, because that's the best.
Right.
So it might only handle a couple houses. It might not even handle a couple houses. So that's probably going to be the answer. But again, is that going to stop this project if it can't handle anything else?
Yeah, no, just to clarify, and anyone who might be out there doesn't know the background, to get to 42 Highland, which is all that's going to be served initially, there's 2 other residences on the way there, that is up to the owner here to whether they get involved or not. That's his business. And what we're approving, and correct me if I'm wrong or distant, all we're approving is this private extension to 42 Highland.
Okay.
And if all you need is 1.5 inches, and that's what you choose to do, then that's all you need to do.
Okay.
The larger pipe was only thrown out as a suggestion to consider, because if there's also a 3-inch pipe in the line, and I I trust that they've looked at it and that 3-inch would be sufficient. Then at some future point, if the rest of this sewer service area does go forward with a betterment, that 3-inch pipe being in the ground could save this homeowner having to pay another betterment when that comes through. But it's strictly up to him. That's not, we don't have any policy that would require that.
Okay.
So I don't think it should even be part of our vote, and the owner does what, places his bets where he chooses.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Any other thought?
I think we mentioned the exact same thing. It'll give him a benefit if he wanted to run his 3-inch line now, but he doesn't have to.
Okay.
But if, for some reason, like Carl said, and as we talked about, if it does go with everybody else, then he's going to have to pay the betterment.
Right. Okay.
Okay, good.
All right. So we'll get squared up on that performance bond. We'll get that answer for the next meeting. And then that schedule, and we'll be good.
Okay.
And a stamped from your engineer, a stamp letter.
Yes, from
It's gonna
Henry,
work.
yeah. Other than that, you have the covenants, you have,
I have covenants for their
Jack's signature.
I don't have Jack's signature yet, but you do recommend this. Yes, so. I'll
Jack
get
shook
that.
his head.
okay.
And anyway, so we have the covenants from legal. There's 2 of them because Matt was in one place and his wife, who is also on the deed, was in another. So they did 2 with each one's signature. So you have 2 places to sign.
So, should we take that motion to approve this and
Approve the project?
approve the project? Or
Or do we want to wait? Our next meeting is the 14th.
That's fine.
Excuse me, Mr.
I'll have all
Chair.
that paperwork for you the 14th. We
okay by
can
then?
okay it
I
then.
was going to say, when did you want to start the project?
Well, I may start my silt fence and, erosion control and that type of thing. Like I said, they ordered the pump. It's not going to be shipped till the 8th, so I'm probably not going to receive it till the 10th anyhow.
Just in review, the only thing we're missing from you is the schedule of value
Yep,
and the letter from the architect.
and the bond money.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
schedule of value.
Right.
Okay, so I'll have those 2 by the 14th.
Okay, so that works for you?
Yep, that's fine.
All right.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you sign that?
Where do I sign that?
Excuse me 1 second.
It's these lines over here. I had to add 2 more because there are only 3. Jack is leaving after this. 9.
Dave on the way back.
So we're still going to sign the covenant? And this is the residents agreeing to the policies that the town's put forward, so.
I don't see a reason
You
not
said
to
it
sign
was
it.
made by council? I mean, they drafted it.
Yes.
I mean, town council, not council.
Is Mike ill or just on business somewhere?
I just heard he wasn't able to come. I don't know.
We'll catch Dave on the way back.
Okay, and I will get Jack to sign, so we can approve it when we have all the things.
Okay.
Okay,
I didn't,
wait
I was
approval.
getting ready to
Yeah,
break ground here. Don't want to hold them up because I think everything is in place.
schedule,
No,
For
this is an
Albro.
agreement, so, yeah.
okay. I have a favor to ask you. If these are signed, can I get you to go to the clerk's office tomorrow and have your signatures notarized?
Yeah.
Tomorrow or, thank you.
You want here?
Yeah, Dave's gonna.
He's out having his private meeting.
Okay. Did we lose Jack?
I think he left. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay,
so the next thing is
so-
I&I.
Huh?
Next thing is I&I.
Yep. So next agenda item is I&I project status. And, damn.
Per Jack, one of them, that 21 John Street, there's been no response. It is very vacant. He would just proceed with submitting a fine. That one, the mail didn't come back, so it went to the lien holder and the owner,
good.
so
Okay,
that one
all
went
right.
through.
So
They're
that's,
not responding.
How
The,
yes,
How
Butch.
did them other people get left out of the loop? for the sewer.
Well, one
There
was,
had- yeah.
yeah, one is not in the sewer service area, so that would be that reason. I'm not sure about the other one. We had, initially, we had said we were only gonna go down to the corner, and she's beyond the corner, even though she's in the sewer service area. May have not been a good decision, but
I
We can
believe that
revisit
she
it.
also said that she wasn't aware, or that she didn't know and wasn't paying attention, so
Right.
she didn't submit any
Yeah,
kind of
she-
interest.
right, yeah, we didn't send a letter.
Budget fault.
Right, well, she didn't submit her interest to have it extended down there, but she's submitted it now,
Okay.
so.
Okay, we didn't move very far, Dave, so. Yeah, it wasn't your fault. So on 21 John Street, we're moving ahead with the fines. 18 Kirby, what's,
Same thing, Jack's been unable to get an appointment, so he said to just proceed with finding.
okay. And 18 Clearings, basically same situation, right? So we've got.
We have actually sent the fine. They have 10 days to appeal, and nothing was received, so that'll go on the billing system.
Okay. And then the last one was 37 Graham Street. This is where there was a failure of the system, right?
Right.
And we had given them until, I think,
28th.
the 28th.
And that has passed, so I did talk to Jack, and he will commence plans to get that capped.
To cap it off. Okay, great. I'm anxious to see that, see how our Graham Street station works after that. Okay. Any other comments or issues on I&I project from the commission? No? Okay, good.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do
Yes,
have one question.
no problem.
Barb, there was a list of the manholes last.
Yep. Pat Cotton did get back and said all of them were done except one site on Elizabeth. And Jack was thinking that when we do the work on 37 Graham, it may be the time to actually do that work on that site.
Right, thank you.
Okay, thanks for bringing that up, Troy. Keep forgetting. All right, next agenda item and then is Whalum Luxury Apartments. There was a ZBA hearing on the 24th that I attended, and pretty much focus was sewer fees. We had sent a too lengthy memo detailing the sewer fees as we saw them, and based on the effective dates of those fees as we understood them to be from council. There was significant pushback and concern by the developers, as you can imagine. We're looking for anyone out there. The sewer fees are, for the privilege fees, is about $1.2 million, and then another couple $100,000 in connection fees. The assessment, the privilege fees are really to continue paying off the loan for the original development. So that's money already spent that we're trying to recover. The connection fees, we do have to pay Leominster for connection, because this does go to Leominster, and we will have to pay those connection fees. The Whalum Luxury Apartments had identified that they have a profitability problem on the order of $400,000, and they're looking to have the I said that wrong. In order for them, according to their calculations, in order for them to meet the requisite profitability, they could only spend $400,000 for sewer, and not 1.4 million. So there's quite a big difference. Our position remains the same, and I told the ZBA is the same, that we believe these to be the correct fees, and since there's nothing on the table that would benefit our customers in the way of any additional sewering or reducing our costs or anything that would benefit our customers, there really is no justification that we see at this time for waiving any fees, that they would have to provide benefit to our customers in order to waive.
Fees.
So
We'll be waiving fees everywhere else.
Exactly. So we're as of now holding the line. One of the actions that did come out of the meeting, just to, I think, triple check, from Dan Hill, their legal counsel, was to go away and just recheck all of the dates of when our fees were in place and that all the i's were dotted and all the t's were crossed, so that we know with our $1.4 million bill that we're on firm ground, because we don't want to have the town end up in court over something that, you know, we oversaw. But we've got, our counsel said we were in shape, but Dan Hill is going to recheck that on behalf of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Not to say that somebody may end up negotiating, but the fact is that the pro forma has not been really analyzed in detail. It was literally handed to the ZBA, the most updated one, on the night of the hearing, which is why the focus was on the sewer.
Mr. Chair, if I could, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but this project is under a 40B project.
Yes.
ZBA can actually override anything they want to do when it comes to 40B. But I thought Mr. Hill did an excellent job and also made a good point. The sewer commission's job is to enforce the law, and that's what we're doing. So I think you did a good job on explaining how we stand. I think the letter was very understandable to Lunenburg Village, but again, I got to thank Mr. Hill for backing what we do, and that is to enforce the law. So I think that's the way it should be done.
Good. Thank you. So any other comment, or the next zoning board, the meeting is the 10/22. There's hope, but I don't think a lot of hope of actually closing the hearing at that time. But as I said, they haven't really dug into the pro forma yet, so I'm not sure if they can go through all that and, you know, reach any agreements. But to your point, Dave, unless something changes, if there's any concessions to be made, it's got to be done by the ZBA.
Now, have we looked at our IMA with Leominster at all?
Yes.
We reviewed it, and have we learned anything about that? Is it the same as Fitchburg's, or as far as direct connect?
No, it's basically similar to the original Fitchburg IMA. We just updated the one with Fitchburg. Leominster's hasn't been updated in a long time. I'll touch on that because I think that's where you're going. There was, you know, some comment made by the developer about connecting directly to Leominster. We don't have any specific language in our IMA that prohibits it. We don't have any language that doesn't prohibit either. I did talk to Leominster today, and they have no intention and would not entertain any connections, any direct connections, unless they were approached by us, or if it was a user that does not have access to Lunenburg system, and we, you know, said help these people out. But whereas Lunenburg Village has access to the sewer system, Leominster, at least that was the feedback today. They would have no interest in any kind of direct connections. And did restate and help educate me on the Emerald Place, which was brought up by the developer, that, you know, there was negotiations on Emerald Place. And again, Roger Brooks of Leominster, you know, reminded me that Whalum was connected to Leominster.
Yeah.
So it was not a similar situation at all. They could very well have stayed connected to Leominster. They were already there.
And the sewer lines were already run there, if I remember right.
Exactly
So
right, yeah.
So there was no deal given to...
There was no deal. It was, again, in my mind, and I was there at the time, to my point, there has to be something in it, in our processes, there has to be something in it for our customers. In that case, there was something in it to have Emerald Place completely on Lunenburg sewer for our customers. It helped our system, so it was worth negotiating.
Yep. Thanks for the update.
Yeah, no problem. Unless there are any other questions, we'll move along. So I will plan to go to the next hearing, and in between now and then, hopefully Dan Hill will be in touch with us, just to hopefully confirm that we're on firm ground, or if not, what ground we're on, and then we
Go from there.
go from there. Thank you very much. Okay, project updates. Lakeview Pratt we did, spent most of the evening on. I&I reduction, anything additional on that, Troy?
No, nothing
Okay.
to add.
Grease trap compliance, basically my comment, I don't think there's any more specific items on that, are there, Barb? No?
Can I ask where we are
Yes.
on the fines for that? Have we fined, or
I have not gotten that
When-
letters out.
when were we gonna do that, or?
I don't know.
Oh,
Things are
is
busy.
it, I mean, do you need anything from us, or?
No, it's
Oh.
just getting a mailing out.
Okay, but you have everything you need in terms of what the effective date would be?
Yes.
And all of these little details that I'm
Yes.
always forgetting?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, and if you need, if there's anything we can do to help, or I can do to help,
It's just
Let me
busy.
know.
I've got
yeah, I
This
know.
stuff
Been
all
watching.
going on. And bills have to get out now, so
Okay.
I'm back in that realm. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Flow rate metering, Mike is not here tonight, and I haven't heard anything of anything out of Troy out there. Privately funded sewer extension policy. I know, Troy, you've been working on anything you want to talk about or put on the table?
Well, I think at the last meeting, I mentioned that I thought that the regulations and the bylaw were sufficient. It's really a matter of implementation and how we implement. And I know in the regulations, it states that we may do some of these actions, and it would be recommended that we do it as a matter of policy generally, and still allow ourselves the discretion in certain situations where we see a reason why we wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just working through some of those mays as a matter of policy will help us,
Okay.
guide us, and we won't have questions.
All right.
Mr. Chair, if I can, I think it was a pretty good one tonight that we can put as a policy as far as the bond issues, that
Mhm.
put that to bed once and for all, so that was, thank God, that was a big one that was very confusing.
Mm.
Nothing's ever put to bed forever.
Yeah, so I guess, just as an example, using that bond one, should we go, I mean, to me, the more level of detail you go into, the better it is for everybody going forward. So should we even talk about the schedule, that there be a schedule?
Schedule values.
Values and so forth. Okay, so that's what you're thinking anyway, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree.
Yeah. And do we mention the covenants anywhere?
I think it's in our policy.
The covenants for,
Like the covenants we signed tonight?
oh,
I know we have little hooks that say bonds, but do we need to?
I think, are you talking about basically outlining the whole application process? How does somebody apply? What do they need? What do they bring in with them? It does talk about that some, but it can be vague in some areas.
Okay.
I think even just stating as a matter of policy that we now require a bond, where if someone were to read the regulation or the bylaw, it would just say may require. So giving applicants more direction might be helpful or useful.
Right. Yeah, and then this covenant is, it was a pretty key document to us, and I'm not sure we pick it up anywhere or have it formalized as a
Was it in the
attachment
outline?
or something.
I thought we put it in our outline on a private extension that people
Uh,
connecting's got to sign a covenant on a private extension.
I think so, but I'm not sure. I'm
Okay,
not positive.
just-
But I think Mr. Daniels is right. Like we said, it'd be nice to give a contractor, here's a package.
Right.
This is what we need.
Right.
And it'll save him a lot of time. I mean, Dan saved a couple of weeks by doing what he did.
Right. Yeah, we want to make it a little easier than it is now. It's better every time. Okay, great. Thank you, Troy.
We're learning.
Sorry?
We're learning.
We're learning, yes. We like to think so. All right. Business systems and process improvement. So I'm kind of letting Barb down on this a little bit, but she's got plenty right now. So. Okay, capital plan. It's due 10/17. And capital must be $10,000 or higher to qualify.
It's already due?
10/17.
Really? The capital plan's already due?
Our input to the capital plan.
Wow. Don't we get forms and stuff? Do we get anything?
I think we just got the request. So I guess, are there any thoughts on capital items that we want to identify?
Mr. Chairman, we talked a little bit last week about on I&I, when I'm sorry, Wright Pierce did the whole report. The I&I identified the I&I issues or suspect issues. They identify a lot of areas, and there was one on there on Lancaster would sort of be the next project, and we weren't sure if we had that built in or money. Would that be something that we could? Would be? I don't know if that's capital, but
Yeah, that's. I guess the first half is we do have money in the budget. I think we had $30,000.
$32.
Yeah, which we do need to. I'm sure you'll tell me, Dave. We do need to get going on that. My suggestion on that would be to get Weston Sampson maybe to come back in, update their proposal now that they've learned a lot, like the rest of us, and
You
what
got a
we should
generator
do.
you might have to change. so-
Well, we do.
The one that wasn't running.
The one on, what street was that?
Oh, the one that needed a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was. I thought it just needed maintenance. Is it?
Well, we haven't got the report back, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to throw, because again, the capital expenditure is for the actual maintenance of equipment and stuff. It's not operational, it's.
Yeah, it's got to
Hardware.
be capital, which is, and I'm sorry, I apologize, I went away. I'm not sure that the I&I engineering work and investigations would qualify as capital.
No, but we do.
But
have
certainly a
budget.
generator would, and.
But a generator would, yes. And manhole covers, stuff like that. So, I mean, have we asked Jack yet what they need for small waters?
I had briefly, but he didn't have any.
Plus
Input.
the system that we're putting in on the cable there,
SCADA.
SCADA.
Oh, SCADA, yeah.
Should we put that in the capital expenditure to do the rest of the pump stations?
That's a very good idea.
That was our plan, was. I remember Jay got a price for 1, then 10, if I remember right.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah, and we decided along that learning theme that we would just, we'd go forward with one, and then the next one, so I think that's a perfect one.
That would, I would get asked Small Waters for recommendations, what the cost would be for switching over all the generators to, pump stations to
Get
SCADA.
it in writing so they don't change it when they give us the proposal.
And also what Butch said, that could be a expensive repair, and I forgot which one it was. Do you remember which pump station it was?
Pump station.
It was a
Twin
big
City.
one.
Twin City?
Twin City.
The generator?
Yeah.
Now, the maintenance we got covered in our contract, but the other thing too is we might want to look at parts of capital expenditures. So we may want to look at what have we been paying for parts and what are we going to need for parts to anticipate. Again,
It's
that
not
would
gonna
be snow water.
10,000, has to be a big, you have to have,
Motor's a big part. I mean, a small water, I think we should be relying on a small water to tell us, like
Yeah.
they did with Butch, the last generator problem.
Right. Yeah, I think I think SCADA is pretty straightforward. We
Well,
can
we
get a
can
quote
get-
on that.
Yeah, we can get SCADA.
And
part of
then,
that, right?
but getting small water to make some recommendations, and clearly Jack, but I'm sure Jack is also working on this.
Well, as Troy just said too, didn't you say about manhole covers?
there were a long list. There was a long list of manholes that they identified were issues, and from what Barb was saying, that all of them have been corrected except for the one on Elizabeth that could maybe be done at the same time as Graham.
Is that with the seal?
Yeah, and there were some that were depressed, and they
right,
had to
inverted.
build them up. And
I guess the question is, what's our inventory left on sewer covers? Do we have any left, or we use them all up?
I don't know.
I mean, those are things that you should
Yeah.
throw in the capital expenditure.
And again, these are the inserts that go under the cover, right, just so people out there. All right, what's the date of our next meeting?
1014.
14, okay. So we'll need to finalize this for our next meeting. Okay? Speaking of small water, do we know how they're doing with the
I bugged.
pump station
for-
generators?
I tried, I sent several emails to Debbie. She was under another deadline and did not get back to me before the meeting, so I don't have an updated figure for that.
I think they were supposed to check with Verizon too, as far as hooking in our,
Yep.
with the
I had-
Verizon line.
I was gonna do that. I
Comcast.
have not heard back on any of the items. I can check with them and get updates.
Would that be the town's IT people on that?
Steve passed because it didn't have any impact to him, that it would be just our issue. So Al's gonna work with Verizon to get that going. Steve didn't need it, the IT guy.
I mean, he passed. He worked
Yeah,
for the,
yeah.
he worked for the town.
I forget what his verbiage was, but he was not gonna be the one to set it up. I don't know. He just said, you take care of it. It wasn't gonna be something done through the IT department, nor would it be funded by him. So,
Yeah,
He
that's
wasn't
clear, but
gonna handle
I thought he was our go-to guy
Right.
from a technology point of view to make sure that we got the right thing. Did
I
he pass
think
on that
He
too?
passed on that. He's
All right,
just
I
saying,
talked to-
because Al was determined to go with Verizon and do a hard line, and Steve wanted to do wireless with Comcast. Once we kept saying,
Right,
no,
but-
they can do it,
But I
and
think
that's what
Steve
Al's
has,
preference
I
was.
think Steve has to understand that we already have our phone lines through Verizon. We already have an
Right, no,
account.
he knows, because he sees the bills,
But I
but,
think, yeah, that's-
Would it be possible to ask for that recommendation and maybe why, or, I mean, because we are looking to him sort of as a peer review.
Yeah,
in a
right.
way, and
Yep.
So to,
oh wait, this has gone on forever,
yeah, okay.
and
Let
we're
me-
trying still to get,
Let me follow up with Steve, just
Okay.
to,
that's fine.
there's a few things I can take off your plate, and maybe it's one of them. Because you're right, I mean, but we understand, it's not through his, and he's not funding it, but he is the expert.
You should be advising
From a
us how.
peer review point of view, so I'll talk to Steve, I'm
I-
sure.
I also just think it's
Yep.
experience with the program too.
Mhm.
And the First Electric and Small Water have a stronger sense of it.
Mhm.
So I don't think he feels,
He may just feel there's not much that he
Right.
can contribute, but let me talk
Okay.
to him, and we'll
But the only problem is Al cannot go to Verizon and deal for us. He's not an agent of the sewer division, where Steve's an agent of the town. Yeah, I mean, you just can't go to Verizon and say,
yeah. Well, he has the account number and the phone number and contact info, so,
right, but he's not an agent as well.
Right.
He can't do that without,
right. But they would
Okay.
come to me and I need a PO and all that, but he was getting it going.
Okay, I'll follow up with
Yeah.
Steve. The generator, yes, Mr. Ebersol, please join us.
Not entirely speaking for IT department, but there's a concept of BYOD, bring your own device. And the concept is that the town's IT department will support the infrastructure that it installs and that it's responsible for. So that may be part of why he's not supporting this, because it's not part of our infrastructure.
Right.
And that the workload that the IT department has, they're trying to restrict schools, towns' operation without going beyond a different infrastructure.
All right,
That
okay,
may be why he's not doing it.
all right, good. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, and I wouldn't expect any more from him. I'm just looking for some technical assistance here. All right, so we don't have anything else. I mean, the generator work is being done. We just don't know the
Right.
the
We don't
detail
have
of how
the
close
final.
to finish they are. Okay. And then the pump station reports, any comments or observations from the commission? I didn't see any.
I let you and Mike look at those.
Yeah. It's so much fun. I couldn't find one thing this week.
Did we get the feedback from them from the previous meeting, the response to the questions that we had, or nothing from?
No, I have not.
Okay. Minutes.
I did not get to him. I
Oh,
tried. I
okay.
really tried.
I pass on
That's what the
that.
to finish part means, okay.
We'll pass on that. I pass on that.
Shush.
All right. Permits to connect. This is good.
We did receive a couple. recently, 824 Mass Ave and 449 Sunny Hill. So we're getting a lot of inquiries on a lot of things right now. It's like the season is ending and everyone's going, oh my gosh, it's going to be October. So there's been a flurry of activity. So there may be more coming.
Okay. Excellent.
Yep.
Use the customers. Okay, business manager reports. FY15 budget, I think everyone got the copy that Barb sent out. Looks pretty encouraging. Is there anything you'd like to go over on that, Barb, or any?
No, but it's proceeding along well. Nothing stands out that's out of kilter.
Do you have a copy of that, Mr. Chair?
I don't have a hard copy, but I can pull it up
Do you
here.
have a copy? There was one item in there that,
I had printed this out for the meeting last week, but if anybody else wants, he won't read that.
Expenses.
He doesn't like those.
Dave's very flexible.
yeah. On the Lummester usage, you got 25% year-to-date.
Right, because they only bill us quarterly. So it's not like it's,
So what is the magic number, about 20% in general?
Well, it's 19.
Where we are?
19.2 of our budget, but
thought I had that
25%
somewhere.
year-to-date. But it's in red, so I didn't know if that was a negative.
no, that's just where I change it depending on how many bills I've gotten. It's not red, it's just because it changes. I thought I would usually have it, I thought it was like 33 or 36% of the way through for
And
the
the
year.
same thing on the user charges, you have,
Right, because it's quarterly, and the Leominster is quarterly. So it doesn't, this is 36% of the year, but yet we've only done one commitment out of 4. Leominster's only billed us 1 out of 4. So I just note when the percentage is different from where we are in the year.
But we're not at 36%.
So that's the
of the
percentage
year,
of the
right?
percentage, right?
You're saying we're 36% here?
4
if-
months into the year, 3 months, July, August, September. I just remember.
3 months,
It was
yeah.
like 36 or 33%.
So it would be 25% of
25%.
the 22.21?
I'm sorry,
Oh, that's okay. I'm
what did you
sorry.
say?
So it would be 25% of the 22.21%, is that? I'm reading the top, the user charge. That's how I interpreted it.
I'm not seeing what you're reading.
the very first line says
Yep.
users charges, year-to-date actual 25% based on commitments.
Right,
And then over on the far right-hand side is 22%.
right, because the budget was for 709,
Yeah.
and so we're under budget, 3% on
Well, it's
that.
not, we're under, on our revenues coming in, I'm talking revenues coming in.
For the user charges.
Right.
Yep. This was for.
Is that a
it's-
deficit, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It's not. I mean, we need more quarters to come. This was for April through June. These usually summer, fall has more water usage, so each quarter has its different usages, so this is not one of the biggest ones. So that usually comes round. After the October, we're usually ahead.
In revenues. I'm talking about, I'm concerned with revenues.
Right.
Okay. So are we on budget for our revenues, or is there a deficit? Is there delinquencies?
Okay, it's a different question.
Yeah,
Are there
those are-
delinquencies?
Right.
I mean, that's, if I was looking at this, and do you have a column in here for non-payments?
No.
Okay, so if I was looking at user charges.
Well,
and see it-
Karen does it differently because of the accounting. We go by the commitment, because that is what is committed to the journal. The delinquencies are dealt with in like, I don't know, I'm not an accountant, but in the cash flow.
Cash basis.
So it's done, they're slightly different, and that's why we use the commitment figure versus actually what's been billed. And what's been paid. We don't track what's been paid. We use the amount that's been committed. And eventually, because of the delinquencies being committed to the following year's tax bill, the monies eventually come in.
So committed
That's all
versus billed, what's the difference between committed and
Right.
billed?
Karen has me track for as far as budgeting is concerned, commitments only, committed dollars, not the actual cash in, cash out. She manages that on the journal side, but not on this side.
I'm sorry, just not sure what
I don't know.
committed means versus what we bill.
I think we need more of a definite, but I'm not sure either. That's why I had
Is
questions.
this very similar to what we would have billed?
That is what we billed,
Oh, that
but
is what
Dave's
we billed.
looking for
Yes.
what we collected, and that's not monitored, not in
Yeah,
our
right,
budget.
okay. But this is what we billed. So we
Yes,
billed
that's
out
what we billed.
22%
157.
of what we planned
Right.
to take in.
Correct.
Okay. And it's not uniformly spread over the year. So what Barb's saying is that 22% for this point in the year is not unusual.
Right.
That there are other points where there'll be more
Get ahead,
billings
right.
and it'll be more than 25%.
Well, it's assumed that we're gonna collect it anyhow because we put it on the tax bill.
The assumption has to be we're going to collect it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you wouldn't put that there. But having visibility to delinquencies is not a bad thing.
No,
But it's not part of the budget.
And also, where are the bills going for Right Pierce? Would that be
That
going
is
under?
on a project, because it was raised at town meeting.
Yeah,
So
but
that's a,
it's not in
It's
our
not in
budget.
here.
Okay.
It would be accumulated under that betterment and the loans
Yeah,
and
no, I just
all that
didn't know we're
separate stuff.
carrying some numbers on there.
Yeah.
yeah, no.
So this is still the same understanding I had. So based on that, when you look at these percentages, I think it looks like we're in pretty good shape. We're pretty well tracking. The one that's tough to track is Fitchburg. I don't know why that one looks so funny, though. Is that because of the budgeting process, Barb, or just the timing,
Pittsburgh, you mean the usage?
the usage?
It's because the last month of the year was actually encumbered. We had 12 months of usage on our FY14 bill, and the bill was it's covered the period of June, but it was actually paid in July, so it's encumbered, so we're always going to be a little
Yeah.
behind on that.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair, if I
Mr.
may,
Gonzalez.
since we're talking about financing, we have our new liaison from the finance company here tonight.
Yes, we
I
do.
just want to welcome you to
You're
our
welcome.
meetings.
Yes,
And if you have any questions, feel free to
yeah,
ask.
yeah. If you have any answers, even better.
Yeah, maybe you can help explain it.
Okay, good. If there's no more questions on that, thank you, Barb. That's good to keep track on this, though. Don't save.
These were on our last agenda, but we missed getting to it, so I'm just stating it again. We were invited to the groundbreaking for the new high school on October 18th. I think it was in the package as far as time. And again, the planning board joint meeting for the economic development element, we're also invited to on October 20th at Ritter. So those are in your, just so you can plan ahead.
Is that their regular meeting, the planning board, the 20th? Is that?
I think it's a joint, I don't know. The 20th would be a Monday, so it could be, but it is for a joint meeting of all people to discuss the element.
So if there's, we did submit our inputs to the planning board, and they've been notified that we will be there. If there's anything else that comes up that we want to get to them in advance, though, please get it to Barbara or myself, so we can give them as much heads up, and that can be as productive a night as possible. Because that's a very important element to the master plan. Okay. Invoices?
Invoices, more. We didn't get to some last time, so. I have two for Kopelman. Again, one was submitted just for timeliness. We can always ratify, I think is how we discussed that if it was not approved at the meeting, that it could be ratified. So I have one for Kopelman through July 31st for $13.26, mostly dealing with the capacity fee I think that was most of it, and the start of the Wright Pierce contract and getting that going. So that was for 1326. Reserve capacity. We passed that in July.
Right.
I know it seems.
Oh, okay. This is, yeah, okay, 'cause this is so far back,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Right.
Thought we did that. Okay.
And then I have a second one through August 31st for 527, mostly dealing tail end of Wright Pierce contract, and then dealing with the fines and liens and what our capabilities were with the INI process and what we're able to do with the law.
How are we, because I know there's communication now relative to the sewer extensions. How are we segregating those dollars
On,
for
the betterment?
liens, easements?
They're very detailed, like on a daily basis, so I don't believe he'd combine them. It'll be under each subject.
But that means we need to pull them out and track them separately and pay for them out of some different bucket of money?
You should have them re-invoice us for that project
Yeah.
at no charge to us.
Yes,
That-
keep
He
it
should be
simple
doing
for you.
it, keep it
Otherwise,
simple.
you gotta go through here, and we
Yep.
gotta do all kinds of gyrations.
Good.
And it's a matter of him just breaking out his bill.
Yep, no, that's a good point. This bill doesn't
This
reflect,
doesn't have
and no,
any-
it doesn't
yeah,
have,
doesn't have
so
any of that stuff, so that's great.
anything through August, so the September one will, so this is.
But
that's
even
timely.
preliminary bills, even if you just started talking about it, can be written off too. So if we talk to them prior to taking Wright Pierce on, that's another expense that goes to that project. So that's all I'm saying. You might want to look and see.
Okay,
Yeah, as I know, I mean, I see where
Yep.
there's conversations now about the easements and all these things, so just want to be
Okay.
careful we don't get those costs in the right place and recover them from the right place. Okay, is that
Yep.
any more?
and then I just have the City of Fitchburg's for 9242, which came in, this is what I provided him as far as the flows, and the bill directly matched what we expected.
What you told me. All right,
Yep.
that's good. I don't know if anybody else wants to look at these.
And the last one is small water bill for the SCADA hardware, the modem and the touch screen. It will still has the internet hookup to be dealt with, but this is the system put in prior to being remote.
Okay, so how does this look compared to what we were expecting?
She had given us I think a 9,000,
Um,
9,200, so I don't know how much the internet portion will be.
That's more than I remembered.
Yeah. Did we have their proposal?
I don't have it on me.
So this labor, is this all relative to the modem, Barb, or is this?
That's the system.
That's the system, right?
Yeah.
They're all in.
Higher than I thought. I thought we were in the $6,000
You
range.
thought being on this commission was a walk in the park, huh?
I think that's higher.
Taking home.
Because this would be where the programming would be.
No, just trying.
Right.
Yeah, they thought they were gonna come in lower than that.
I would just look at their proposal again.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. It
Yeah,
just
let's
was
do that.
received, so I can take a look. Come back. Don't go away. All right. Just so you know, I did send cards on the behalf of the commission to we had a former sewer commissioner, Mark Flagg, who was injured, so we sent a card. And then Jean McKnight retired
oh,
from Copeland and Page.
Oh.
So
oh,
did?
good for her.
she did.
I'm in favor of anybody retiring that can do that. And my heart goes out to Mark Flagg, too, 'cause, good guy, and
Hope he
happy-
recovers.
yeah, I'm happy it wasn't more serious, so
Right.
best to you, Mark.
And after that, it's just the next meeting is October 14th.
Okay. Any comments from the commission?
I will be out of town on October the 28th.
28th, okay,
I won't be here for that meeting.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, the question I got is, on these connections, are we notifying the other boards, like planning board,
Yes.
anytime there's a connection?
Yep.
I would, okay.
Planning board just asked to be taken off of the notification. Building department is, well, building department and planning, and Board of Health were all advised on an intent to connect. Planning board, that was with Marion Benson, and Marjorie just recently said, she doesn't need to know. And when they actually connect, we let the assessors and the Board of Health know.
No, but there's a new land use
Yeah.
gentleman come on board, so I think maybe you should reach out to him and see if he wanted especially with this project that's going on in town. There's opportunities out there for people.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Dave.
And also on 909 Mass Ave, did we get the certificate from them that they disconnected the grease
Yes.
trap? So they can take them off our grease trap list?
Right.
So, good.
Good.
And sent it to planning board, so they're all set also.
Is that the old,
Eagle
Harley House?
Harley House.
I don't know if that's a wise decision for them to do away with that.
With the grease trap?
and that. What if they ever wanted to start serving food there again?
Yeah, just put it,
They had to go through a whole new process.
from my understanding from the meeting, they don't own the grease trap anyway.
Yeah.
The government
What?
does. The government owns it.
If they wanted to sell hot dogs at their antique sales, they're in trouble.
Yeah, there you go. It's true.
Otherwise, they would have to pay the fee of $100 a year for keeping it too. They had that
Well,
option.
they also.
$100 a year is not a lot of money
Yeah.
for,
But it's a good point, and that's why I specifically asked them if there was other uses intended. Right now, they couldn't sell food if they wanted to. They only have for the antique. So if they decided to do that, which may make sense, then they'd have to come back to the planning board, and that would trigger us also to get back involved, and they'd have to come to us if they did that. That's my understanding.
I just think we ought to make them aware of it, that's all.
Yeah, and that's why I asked them when they came in before us, if they had other uses intended, and they said absolutely not. And they've only been approved for antiques and furniture.
Well, somebody might want to convert that back to an inn.
Yeah. Then they'll, hopefully they put an external grease trap in.
Well, they're gonna have to after.
The next time, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna be
Upgrade.
grandfathered.
Yeah, upgrade. It keeps
Not
getting
in that
better.
case.
Okay. Any public comment from the public? Okay. Then I would love a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
Thank you, Butch. Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much. Have a good night.